This is my buddy Bebe, and this is Bebe's roadmap to success. She wants to go to lay on some hardwood floor because after the video that we shot above, we went outside to see how she did outside. Now, when we're outside, I was going to go over something called the engage-disengage game. And I'm not going to go over that here. When you get to the point where you can follow all the steps in the video above, and she can go outside and she is listening to you, you're going to follow these next steps. After you've gotten to the point where she's checking in with you frequently, then call me and then we can work on setting her up for the engage-disengage game. When we were outside, she wouldn't even take treats. She was so aroused. So the video that we went over above is going to help her recognize that I'm not going to move forward. She won't actually consciously recognize that, but you are going to stop her from moving forward when she starts showing excitement. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where you can go outside and she actually is listening to you and she will take treats. Your two tests: can I get my dog to sit? Can she take a treat that I know she likes? If she can't sit, she's communicating, I'm too aroused or too fearful or excited to listen to you at this point. And sitting puts dogs at a disadvantage. I use the sit to see if a dog feels comfortable enough to sit down. So I only ask for it once if I know the dog knows how to sit. And if it doesn't, then I move it 5 feet away from whatever it is that it might be fearful of and ask for a sit again. I keep repeating that until I find the distance the dog will sit. That usually is my indication. The dog says, I feel comfortable at this particular distance. So the idea is we want to have her to be able to listen to us and not be so aroused that she is bouncing off the walls like she was. Now, when we get to the point where you can go outside and she's listening to you, go to your, well actually, these don't have to be one after the other. So keep on practicing the stuff we went over in the video above. But when you do take her outside, go to that grass area, the fake grass we were at, and go stand in the middle of it. Have a treat in your hand. Wait for her to look at you and let her have the whole length of the leash. As she goes this way, pivot, just to move off your pivot point. So stay in that pivot point and keep on staying there until she looks at you. When she looks at you, say yes, and then lower the treat. That usually causes the dog to come to you. She won't come to you, probably an indication she's still too aroused. So the idea is keep on doing that until she's checking in with you. And then when she does, you say yes and give her that treat. You might have to use a higher value treat. These are Stewart's freeze-dried beef liver. They come in big chunks. They are so rich that if you give a big chunk, it can actually cause pancreatitis. So I chop them into little pieces like that with a serrated edge knife. You can also get chicken hearts. There are other higher value treats that might work better outside. But I don't like to go too high because then the dog is communicating to me by not listening to me. It's too aroused and too excited. So that tells me that I'm moving too fast. But I want you to get to the point where, again, through all the stuff we did in the video above, you're able to go outside and she listens to you. And you might have to even stop in the lobby and stand in the lobby and just let her, wherever she wants to go in the lobby, kind of pick a spot in the lobby so you're not right in the main traffic way. But we want to get to the point where she's starting to check in with you. So I normally was going to have you go practice where the AstroTurf is, but that's probably going to be too much. So if you go in the lobby, and if she can't do it in the lobby, then do it on the floor right outside your hall, your door here on the level that we're on. I'm not going to say which level. But if she won't do it there, then do it here. What I was talking about in the above video is just simply walk over to where the door is, tell her to sit and say yes and give her the treat, and then walk away. We don't have the leash on. We don't put the harness on. We're just helping her practice that one element, is sitting. I'd like you to do the same thing for the elevator. Go into the elevator, open the elevator. If it's empty, walk in, go to the farthest point back, ask her to sit. If she sits, a yes, give her a treat, and then exit the elevator. Do this before the elevator moves off your floor. And then, wait for it to go down and ping it again. And after a while, and you might tell your management company, since you have the fob, to what you're doing, so I don't think you're doing a prank. Yes, I'm celebrating. We'll talk about that in a sec. But the idea is you're getting her to go in the elevator and sit down in the corner, the furthest point away from the exit or entrance to the elevator. So that way, if another dog does come in, we have enough space. Now, if you're caught in the elevator and she's starting to get reactive, pick her up, turn her away, and use your body to shield. So the dog's back here. She's got no neck. She's a Frenchie, so she can't turn and see it, and just hold her. Now, we prefer not to do that. We prefer, really what I prefer is if she does that, it starts freaking out, just press the next button at the floor if you can and get off, but I don't think for your elevator you're allowed to do that. So you just have to ride it out. But the idea is practice that at times of the day when they're less likely to have people coming in the elevator. So eventually get in the elevator and go to the next floor down, and then get off, and then do the next floor down. So again, when you have time to practice, do this floor by floor by floor. You have several, we're in the teens, so you have several attempts, and having her get used to the door opening, and every time the door opens, I would give her a treat. Unless she gets excited. Normally, what I was going to do is and what I was going to do for the elevator issue for you was I would arrange for you to have a friend. I would have you in the elevator and maybe put your friend on the next floor down, just waiting outside the elevator. And then you come out up here, get in the elevator, go down the next level, open the door, and have your friend standing out there with their dog. They don't come into the elevator. So she looks at it, you say yes, give her a treat. Another thing I like to do, and again, I think she's so aroused she wouldn't take the treat. Another thing I like to do is get a spoon and put cream cheese or peanut butter on it, and I freeze it. If the dog is licking that, they can't bark. Licking and chewing release the feel-good endorphins of oxytocin and serotonin, the love drugs. So if you open the door and she's looking at the dog, she's looking at the dog, and the dog's not coming in, so she doesn't feel the need to make it lunch or make it go away, and she's getting something positive while she's looking at the door, and then the elevator's door closed. As soon as the door is closed, the spoon goes away. This is counter conditioning. Normally I want to react to the other dog, but now the other dog comes, you want to find a distance where she feels comfortable enough to not react, but she's still aware of it, and then let her lick it. So you might have, if this is maybe this is the doorway, the person standing here is too much, you might have to move them further away from the doorway. And eventually maybe they're on the far wall, and then she opens the door, looks, and as soon as the door opens, you're letting her lick, and you can control where she looks by holding it. She's looking directly at the dog, lick, 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 the elevator door's closed, you take it away. And then go the next floor down, then come back up. So you, again, curate the experience. Find a time where you can practice this. And if the other dog is barking too much, maybe or she's barking the other dog, you might have them kind of out of sight so they can step around a corner. So she looks at them and licks once, but maybe after looking for 3 seconds, she starts barking and doesn't lick anymore. So again, how do we make it easier? All right, I'm gonna have you appear for 1 second. As soon as she licks once, I want you to turn and walk your dog away. And as soon as she walks away, we take the spoon away. So now I only get the licking of the spoon when I can see the other dog. When the other dog walks away, the good thing that I like disappears. So actually, can we get the other dog to come back so I can get to lick the spoon? So that's what we're doing, is we're helping her change her emotional response to the dogs. Now, again, I think until you are able to get her calm and walk her and get her all the way to the lobby where she'll look at you and check in, you're not going to be able to do the elevator stuff or all that stuff because she's just too worked up. So remember, if she won't take a treat or she won't sit, it's too much. And we do this, try to do this in short practice sessions. If you do it right, she should just look like she's sitting there looking. Under the surface, there's a lot of emotional turmoil going on. So don't press for longer, like 10 or 15 minutes. Even if you're doing it right, if you're doing it right, she shouldn't be reacting at all. If she reacts, that means that she was too close. But the idea is do about 10 or 15 minutes of that. I mean, sometimes I do like 5 minutes, and I take her 5 minutes and go step away and spend 5 minutes in an environment that they found relaxing and help them, and then go back and spend another 5 minutes. Another 5-minute break, and then another 5 minutes and you're done. So maybe a 25-minute if you're going to do it all at once, but if you only have 5 minutes, do it for 3 minutes and then walk back up. So remember, practice all this stuff when you don't need to. You're going to get the best results by doing it when you don't need to. Here, sweetie. All right, now let's go through the stuff that we covered in this session. All right, so she is, I believe, a fearful dog. So I reached over her and I'm intimidating. When I'm leaning over, is it still filming?
Yeah, it is, but your head.
My head's off? Okay.
There.
There we go.
Better.
There we go.
Done that earlier.
I don't know, it might be better if my head's not in the video. I'm not a model. All right, so when I reach down for her, she's ducking. And we're going to go over consent and cutoff signals here in a minute. But I would like to pick her up, and I think she's either saying I'm not worthy, like Wayne and Garth, or I don't want to be picked up. So I'm ducking now. So what I'm doing is I'm listening to her. And I'm going to talk about consent in a minute, but let me go through what we went through in the order so it makes a little bit more sense for you. So make a timestamp of whatever this is. You could jump to this point. This is the other stuff that we covered in your session. I just want to put the stuff at the front that was for the reactivity. We start off with the marker word. We loaded the marker word. Remember this, by the time you see this is going to be too late. You should have done this by now. So later on today, I want you to grab treats and say yes, treat. Remember, yes, then we deliver the treat. We don't say yes as we deliver or yes as we give it. Yes, then I move my hand to deliver the treat. She's a Frenchie. She has kind of an underbite. So you might just throw a treat on the ground, and when she goes to get it, say yes about a half second or a second before she licks it up. When you do that, walk around your whole place and loading it, and I'll probably send you, she might need to have her glands expressed because she's doing it a couple times. It happens, pimples appear. And so I'll send you, when I get done with this video, I'm gonna send you a link on markers, so you should have that done. Remember, the marker is your way of saying good girl. So when you say good girl, you're not saying it in a way that she understands as good girl. When you say yes, you are. So from now on, try to say yes, and when you say yes, don't say any other words for 5 seconds. We also went over hand targeting, and I'll have that linked on the story above. That hand targeting, remember when she looks in your general direction, you chop, make sure your chop ends up at nose level. You're marking her, touching her nose to your hand, and don't move your hand away, put the treat on your hand, then chop on the other side. Your husband and you can practice this. One of you sitting over there at the kitchen table, one of you sitting here, she's practicing going back and forth. We use the touch exercise. I use it to help people to practice their timing and their technique. We use it to reposition dogs. We can all use it as an alternative recall. Come, I'm not gonna come. Touch or boop, oh, I'll come and shove my nose to your hand. Same thing. So the idea is it's an exercise that you can use for a lot of different capacities. We also went over celebrating, which is my favorite thing, one of my favorite lessons to go over, and that celebrating is rewarding her when she chooses to do the things that you like when you don't ask. Now, if you ask her to sit and she sits, you say yes and pet her, that's absolutely great to do. But celebrating is rewarding her when she makes the decision. So every time she comes to you, yes, and pet her on her chin. Every time she lays down, yes. Goes to the dog bed, drinks water, drops a toy, gives you eye contact, anything you want. I taught one of my to stretch this way. Every time it stretched, I would say yes and pet it at the end. After a while, when he was about to get in a stretch, I'd say stretch, yes, and give him a treat. And I could get him to do that on cue. I taught that specifically because for dogs, when they do a stretch, down dog, that's an invitation to play. It's called a play bow. So if you teach your dog to offer those and your dog sees another dog and the other dog doesn't know how to deal with your dog and your dog doesn't play bow, now be careful because that is an invitation for the other dog to come. But if you can cue your dog to stretch and sees another dog, that might make the other dog feel more comfortable. It would really be a better lesson for all the other dogs that you encounter to meet, so she sees all the other dogs are inviting her to play, but we can't really do that. All right, so that's celebrating. Say celebrate to each other and get in the habit of doing it. It'll take you about 2 months to get in a habit. Well, if you do, every time your dog comes to you, you say yes, pet him, and keep on talking. I didn't even break my sentence. I am not consciously aware of how often I do it now because it's become a habit, and this is the gift that keeps on giving. It increases your dog's confidence. It helps them hold more respect for you as a leader, helps them practice basic obedience, and is a great way to distract them. It is a great gift, but it only works if you get in the habit of doing it. So point at each other and say celebrate. If somebody says celebrate to me, I just say yes and pet them under the chin. Don't reach for a treat, just say yes and pet. We also went over consent, which is what I was talking about earlier. So watch the video, I'll have it linked above, but for dogs, turning their head to the side, and for her, a clear cutoff signal for her is turning her head to the side and ignoring you. That's not disobedience. That's her saying, I'm not interested, or I disagree, or I don't want to engage with, or whatever that is. Now, sometimes it's stuff that she was interested in, you don't want her to be interested. We're the guardian. Our job is to not put her in a position. So if you know they get to go to the beach and she can't pay attention if there's seagulls around, don't take her to the beach. Practice other places. Practice on the sand close to the beach, or the boardwalk. And every time she looks at a seagull, she gets find a way to practice and making it easier. All right, let me see. We also went over the manners lesson. Manners is rewarding, is disengaging from the dog when it offers behaviors that you don't like. Remember, all attention from you is rewarding. So stop it, or repeating the cue over and over again gives the dog's reward for not listening to you. So the dog jumps up on me, I just freeze. Don't say anything. I don't give it anything. When the dog jumps down, I don't want to pet it then because the dog's like, I have to jump up to get down to get the pet. So when it jumps up, I freeze and become boring. When it gets down, then I tell it to sit, lay down, or touch. If it does one of those three things within about 3 seconds of when I ask them to do it, I mark a reward. If they don't do it, no power, you do you. I'm on to the next thing. So remember, not giving attention is a great way to communicate to the dog that they haven't done the thing that you wanted. So I use that as the manners lesson. So if somebody comes to the room, the dog's up on my leg and I'm petting, and somebody says manners, I go, sit. If the dog sits, then I pet, and I'd say, actually I asked him to jump up on my leg and I was petting him, but thanks for reminding me. Because we don't realize how often we do this accidentally without intending to do so. We also talked about some rules. So try to incorporate some rules. Ask her to sit before you go to pet her, before you, I say lift her under your bed, but that doesn't happen. Before you open the door to start preparing her food. Before you're going to open the door to the apartment. And that's an easy one that I love to do. So I go to the door, tell her to sit. If she doesn't sit, then I walk away and sit back down. And that's why practicing when you don't need to works really well. It's like, why didn't I sit? If I sat, I'd be getting a treat. And another way you do it is just take 2 steps, ask her to sit, yes, and treat. Take 2 steps, sit, and treat. Do this all the way to the door. So when she gets to the door, she's not thinking we're leaving the door. You haven't put the harness on, you haven't grabbed the leash. We're just practicing. I sit and I hear yes, I get a treat. And get to the point where you can take her all the way to the door, have her sit to the next to the door, sit, yes, treat. When you can achieve that and you've achieved the calmness, well, actually, even the calmness you don't have to, then you walk over the door, tell her to sit, and like in the video, reach your hand halfway part for the handle, pull back. If she stays seated, say yes, and then give her a treat. And I like to do that each step 3 times, and then maybe I go to now 75% of her reach. Yes, treat if she stays seated, and do that 3 times. Then eventually I touch the handle. Pull back, yes. But I'm touching, I'm not jiggling it, I'm just touching it. Next is to jiggle a little bit, jiggle a little bit more, a little bit more. Eventually you jiggle as loud as it can. Eventually open an inch and close it back. So at any point, if the dog gets up, you stop, you tell her to sit 1 time. She has 3 seconds to sit. If she does, then we reward with a pet. Then we continue the process. If she does not sit within 3 seconds, we walk away. And again, another illustration why practicing when you don't need it is so powerful. Let me see. The exercise I think you're doing is fine. Amount of exercise is fine. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else you want me to cover in this video? Bebe?
Don't think so.
Bebe? Yes. Well, I'll go over this last little thing. You can't see Bebe here sit, but when I reach for her, she's ducking down. So as soon as she ducks down, I pull my arm back, and that causes her head to go up. So I go down, head's going down. Now the head is not as far down. There you go. Now I'm petting her under her chin and her nose is up and she's not cowering. So a lot of us misinterpret when a dog rolls over and shows you our belly that I'm saying, I want you a belly rub. And sometimes they do. But I was watching the corner of his mouth and she started, after a second or two of petting, they started drawing back. And that is an indication of fear or anxiety. So if you go to reach to pet her and she ducks her head, pull back. When you're on walks and about and about, if she licks her lips, that can be an indication she's a little anxious. Yawning is her way, could be her way of saying, I want the environment or the other dog to calm itself down. Breathing. She breathes pretty heavily when she's excited. So pay attention to that breathing. Is her breathing starting to get excited as you're walking towards the elevator? So a lot of times we wait till the dog is having a crescendo before we stop. Recognizing she doesn't feel comfortable and stopping sooner. If let's say she has 10 levels of discomfort, level 1, level 2, level 3. Let's say I'm waiting till she gets to level 9 before I interrupt. She's got a long ways to go back to 1. But if I recognize at level 3 that she's uncomfortable and stop, that's a much shorter distance. And after a while, oh, now I got you. Oh, and after a while, then it's the dog can calm itself down easier and sooner and faster and more effectively. Yes, is that right? Yes, you're a beauty. Yes, you are. Such a good-looking girl. All right, well, this is my buddy Bebe, and this is Bebe's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.